Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk about how to tie the San Diego jam knot. So here we go. There's a few different techniques and ways to tie this knot. So it is quite simple. It's probably a little bit, if the Palomar difficulty level is a 2, then the San Diego jam difficulty level is a 3. Still pretty easy. Okay, so you get whatever you want to tie. In this case, let's use our imagination. My little chain link here is my hook. And sorry, remember it's amateur hour. So I have my main line in my left hand, my tag end in my right hand. I like a lot of tag end. And so I do something like this. So now my finger is starting to create a loop. And then, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm only gonna do 5 wraps because this paracord is really thick. And what I'll also start to do is kind of slide these wraps up the line towards my loop that I made with my finger. I'm gonna go through this part of the knot, this loop down here. Now, sometimes when you're tying this knot, whatever you are tying, it will start to twist. Let's see if I can demonstrate that. So like this will start to twist, and then you get these twists right here. Make sure there's no twist. Just make it nice and a nice loop. Okay, now you're going back through this right here, right? And then you have to go back through this loop. Now see how I am going through the side of the loop, so the main line and the tag end are next to each other. Most of the diagrams that I looked online have it going that way. Now, can you go this way? I have seen some diagrams show and go that way. I have done it both ways, kind of not even realizing, and the knot seems to work just fine either way. So I'm going to do it this way. Follow that. Now, here's where kind of using paracord isn't the greatest because it doesn't act like fishing line. But what you want to do is you want to start sliding these wraps up towards your main line. And this is the thing that kind of tripped me up a little bit about the San Diego jam knot at first is you want to pull your knot away from your hook and then pull it back down towards your hook. And that's what jams. That's how it gets the jam name. And so let's see how well we do this. So there's our wraps. You can see the knot starting to take shape. And now you slide it back down. Ready, watch. See how that knot just slid all the way down? And there you go. That is your San Diego jam knot. Again, cut your tag end off and you're ready to go. I'm not going to do that because I don't want to keep losing paracord. And so let's talk about some pros and cons of this knot. What are we going to talk about first? We're going to talk about the pros. Okay, so you can use this knot up to 100 pounds. After 100 pounds, you're going to be crimping anyway, most likely. And large jigs. So you saw the Palomar knot, how you have to like get the hook back through that loop. Well, there's no like loop that you have to get your thing back through. So I'm using large. If I'm using large jigs, I'm definitely using the San Diego jam knot. If you're trolling Mad Mac, I tie it via a San Diego jam knot. So that's why I like this knot. What I wouldn't use, if I'm using a very light line, I'll just tie a Palomar anyway. It takes a little bit longer to tie than the Palomar, without much more strength, believe it or not. So I was at one of the fishing shows and there was a line company there and they would let you tie your line and then they put it on a machine to see how strong your knot is. And I believe it was 50-pound line in the San Diego Jam and the Palomar broke at basically the same strength. And to be honest with you, it was the line broke. Neither of these knots actually failed. You know your knot fails if you bring it up and it's all curly Q. That means your whatever you tied on slipped through, and as it was slipping through, it burnt the line into that shape. If your line comes up broken, it's just going to be a straight piece of line, and sometimes you can even see it like taper out, and that's the line and the mono kind of other fluorocarbon, whatever, just stretching, and you can use your imagination to see how that would decrease the diameter. It tapers out and breaks. So that's the San Diego Jam. Again, I'm gonna tie it again for you now that you know when to use it. And let me untie my knot. Again, no editing. This is an amateur channel. I spend all week in front of a computer working, so I don't enjoy then spending more time on my weekends editing. So, and for some reason, when I'm tie this knot, I like to have my main line on my left hand. I will sit at work and just tie knots sometimes, just to practice and kind of again get my eyes off of a computer screen for a little bit. And for whatever reason, I do these things a certain way so many times in a row. That's just kind of how my brain starts to work. So let's do it again. Okay, so there you go. You got your loop. And sometimes what I will do is I will use a torpedo sinker. And if this is a hook, you can imagine putting the torpedo sinker on it, and it just helps kind of keep this tight. And also, I'll use that torpedo sinker instead of like grabbing onto the hook to try to create that tension. A torpedo sinker is like a perfect handle, and I'll pull on the torpedo sinker that's hooked onto my hook. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I like to use a lot of tagging. I don't have a lot of tagging going on right now. Again, if you are using fishing line, you typically will just cut off whatever you don't use. Go back through. Get those loops up. So basically you're pulling the loop towards your reel and not towards your hook. Now, to slide it down, you hold on to the hook. You pull with your hand on your main line, but then also you have to make sure that your tag end doesn't start to do something like this. So you have to keep tension on your tag end. So I have 2 hands, but I have 3 things I need to be doing right now. So a lot of times I'll put the tag end in my mouth, and that's what I'm going to do right now. There you go. There you go. That's your San Diego Jam. Again, that's how that works. The paracord doesn't quite act like fishing line, but I also notice when I'm trying to do these videos with fishing line, you can't really see what I'm doing. So close enough. Remember, kill something, drag it back to the cave, and eat it. See ya.